Call the order of a regular meeting of the Goodyear City Council, 14 September 2009. Please join Councilmember Osborne in the Pledge of Allegiance and Invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You bow your heads, please. Heavenly Father, gathered together today are noble people, people praying for their city, health, and protection. We pray for the mighty men and women of service, and we pray for these things in your name. For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of sound mind. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you. 6 of our members of council are with us this evening. Councilmember Antoniak is trying to get here, and hopefully he will, but in case he doesn't make it, could I have a motion to excuse him, please?
So moved.
A motion from Vice Mayor Lord and a second from Councilmember Souza. All those in favor signify by stating aye, please.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it unanimously. We have no expenditures to ratify, but we do have 2 items on communications. First, we'll start with Elaine Schmerbeck, and you'll introduce Deborah Unjum, the race director with the IMS Marathon.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm happy to introduce Deborah Unjum, who's the race director for the IMS Arizona Marathon. The first ever marathon occurred earlier this year, and the second one will occur February 14th of 2010. The marathon course is run through Litchfield, Avondale, Goodyear, and end up in Westgate in Goodyear. And staff has already begun preparing for the event. We're working with her on street closure requests, a traffic control plan, and safety concerns. So, Deborah.
Good evening. Thank you very much for letting us speak tonight. We're very excited to be here. First and foremost is that when I got together with this plan, and Connie Stepnips and Chief Gaylord all rah-rahed and cheerleaded, and I met with Georgia Lord, I met with Rob Antoniak and Mayor Kavanaugh, and they were all said, yes, communities can come together and put together a marathon, as it would be hard to run 26 miles around Litchfield Park or around Avondale. So the cities came together and were wonderful in the support of it. I actually have a book here that I will want back, but it does feature our mayor as the starting person in the event. And somehow this coming up year, Mayor Kavanaugh has committed to ride his bike again for 26 miles. This is the big surprise. Mayor Schoaf has committed to start the half marathon on his bicycle and ride the half marathon. So we're very excited about that. And Marie Rogers Lopez, again, the mayor of Avondale, will start her race, and hopefully Glendale will get on board quickly. It could not have been done, though, without the community effort. Joanne, combined efforts with Goodyear in Action, and we're happy to say that the Health and Wellness Program being presented, I have given you numbers on the event. We hosted over 1,000 people that day, and over 600 of them were runners, walkers, and joggers, because it takes absolutely nothing to put on a pair of shoes and walk out your door. And to utilize the CrossFit program, we have combined efforts with the Southwest Valley YMCA. They get a free monthly membership. Westmark has endorsed us, along with the Arizona School Board's Insurance and Trust Program, to also as a health and wellness program. And we're happy to say that Cancer Treatment Centers of America have joined us, and we are now promoting a 5K also. So you can do anywhere from 3 miles to 26 miles. Yes, you're all looking at me and ducking your eyes. I kind of see that over there. And Avondale is on board. They have a councilman in Avondale that has pledged money because he's going to sleep in that day. We have a councilman in Litchfield that is, again, going to step forward and race in the event. We also, I cannot tell you that when we took this, the dream was for the communities to come together on the health and wellness program. The committee members that came forth were over 22 people from all 4 cities. We call it the Arizona Marathon because we don't want it deemed as a West Valley Marathon, even though that is our primary support, and we gave over $10,000 back in our West Valley community. We still want people from all over Arizona to run the flattest course in Arizona. And I would like to take just a moment to introduce some of our committee members, and we're going to start with our Goodyear in Action, Jen Barber. because she was also at our Health and Wellness Expo and at the event. And next, my committee members, please tell us where you are from in the city. Becky, come forward.
Becky Johnson, and I live in Goodyear. I'm Deb Grace, and I'm in Abigail. I'm Rachel Reese, I live in Ridgeville.
Jamie Fies, I live in Goodyear.
Chief Gaylord.
I'm Mark Gaylord, I live in Goodyear.
And he's promised to run next year. That's why we threw him on as one of our last committee members. And just want to let you know that seriously, without the commitment of everybody on board, the true, I guess, best compliment we could have received is all the cities have signed on board and all of our sponsors have signed on board. And IMS apologizes that they could not be here today, but they are happy that they are welcoming on the Cancer Treatment Centers of America also. And we would like to present you with a $500 check. It does say Goodyear in Action on it because we're trying to get them a little additional publicity also. And we did also give them $500. So thank you very much.
You have the check?
Well, you know, we have the big check, but we don't actually have the check that goes to the bank. I forgot.
The camera much prefers that check.
Could I have all my committee members please come forward? And Joanne and Georgia, since you were such integral part too, will you come forward? Okay, and if you guys promise next year, you can come forward too.
Yeah.
Why are they nodding? Does that mean yes or
With
no?
my cane.
They think you want them to run, I think.
No, they can walk. Okay. Have the chief up here. Chief is the thing. Come on, chief. That's good.
Well, thank you very much for that.
And just in closing, we would seriously like to also thank the West Valley Magazine, and most especially Kevin Elliott, because without him, we wouldn't have books and magazines to promote and bring over 1,000 people to our event.
No, thank you very much. I do want to say something here about Deborah. This would not have occurred if it weren't for Deborah. This was her dream. She performed the logistics support. Basically, she laid out the track, right? You decided what made 26.x miles, and she got the rest of us out there. So thank you very much. You did a great job.
I'll do this for you to wear when you ride your bike.
I'll do that. Okay, as I said, there was 2 items on communications. The second item is a proclamation I'd like to read, and you've already heard about Goodyear in action, but I have a little proclamation for them. And I'm going to present it to Jen Barber and Anton Pratt, and if they'd come forward. Office of the Mayor, Proclamation, Goodyear in Action Day, September 26, 2009. Whereas healthy lifestyle choices can help reduce the incidence of many chronic diseases and improve the overall health of the residents of Arizona. And whereas the rate of chronic diseases such as stroke, heart disease, diabetes, and obesity have reached epidemic numbers in the Grand Canyon State. And whereas good nutrition and active living are beneficial for our mental and physical well-being, positively impacting our health, longevity, and quality of life. And whereas Goodyear in Action encourages the collaboration of supportive businesses, nonprofits, government, youth, citizens, and schools to motivate residents of Goodyear to live healthier lifestyles and lead longer lives. Now, therefore, I, James M. Cavanaugh, Mayor of the City of Goodyear, Arizona, do hereby proclaim September 26, 2009 as Goodyear in Action Day, and encourage Goodyear residents of all ages to work to become more active and health conscious. Given under my hand in these free United States and City of Goodyear on the 26th day of August 2009 is when I signed this, James M. Cavanaugh. So it's a proclamation to Goodyear in Action, and I thought, Jen, maybe you'd like to briefly tell us about the 26th.
Well, the 26th will be a day to motivate all of Goodyear's residents and families and seniors and school children to get off the couch and out into Goodyear and to have some fun. We have almost about a dozen organizations right now that are opening their doors to the public free of charge, so you can go and do some fun fitness events and find fun ways to helping get active. And really, we appreciate all of the city support. All of you have been absolutely fantastic. And Paula and everybody and Mike Spetz, we would not be able to accomplish this without your support, and they're extremely appreciative. Thank you.
We should mention, and I do want to thank the staff for getting involved in this and the council, but this is another one. This would not have occurred if it wasn't your idea, correct? And you got Anton, and you picked up others.
Yep.
But it's private citizens getting involved in their community and insisting on making a difference, and that's what you did. So we thank you very much. This will make a big difference in Goodyear, and I'm really proud of this one because this shows our people are getting involved in the community and doing good stuff. So Anton, thank you. Opportunity now for citizens to address the council on any subject not on this evening's agenda. I understand we have 3 citizens.
Four
that would like to speak. Just let me make a quick comment here. In this particular part of our agenda, the citizen comments up to 3 minutes. If you could delimit your comments to 3 minutes, please. And the council will listen to comments and may take any one of the following: respond to criticism if there is one, request that staff investigate and report on the matter, and request that the matter be scheduled on a future agenda. So those are the actions which we can take. In other words, we aren't going to be discussing it here because it's not on our agenda. Okay, Lynn?
First one is Lee Webb.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
My name is Lee Webb. I'm a resident of Strayed Mountain Ranch, and I'd like to address the problems with the newly implemented bulk trash pickup. I have found that since its implementation, we have trash has been laid on the streets for weeks or more, and I see trucks going through the neighborhood as collectors, and they'll drive past piles and pick up certain and leave others. This past Wednesday, I went down and I asked to speak to a representative at City Hall. Someone from the Sanitation Department came down and took my concerns and logged them, and I asked, what is the next step? I said, I want to know that some action is going to be taken. One suggestion she had was to come to council and present this to council, which is why I'm here. She also asked if I want a representative from sanitation to contact me, and I said yes. This past Thursday, I had a scheduled pickup for my bulk trash. Wednesday night, I drove through the neighborhood, and there's 97 homes in my community, including mine. There were 13 piles of trash, some that had been there for well over a week. Thursday, they come by and they picked up my trash, and everything else stayed on the street. I went in and I was going to make a contact, but ironically, Brian Barnes, who was the Deputy Director of Sanitation, called me. We talked at great length. He listened to my concerns and my complaints. He explained some of the problems they encountered, some of the things they were doing, some of the reasons why they were implementing the changes. Basically, some of the things that he told me was he felt that communication was a basis of the problem, communication being that the public is not aware of the changes. He said that the Infocus had the wrong date, Southwest Valley didn't print it, Arizona Republic had a small article about 6 pages deep, and he also said he had a lack of cooperation in-house from other departments because he wanted to put a notice and be sent out with, I guess, the water bills, and they had balked at that, but as I understand, that's something that's going to happen now. I asked him about the trash being on the streets for over a week, how could that be possible, and he said that basically the residents weren't complying to the new regulations. However, then he admitted that residents didn't know of the new regulations, and he was talking of some of the steps that they were trying to do, but he was implying that they were, in fact, in violation of city code. That's a whole other issue where we talked about that issue, and basically there's not enough enforcement to even make this happen. His suggestion to him, or to me, was that he thought I should go through my community or approach my HOA and try to find a solution where maybe we had a single day for collection of things. I don't think as a resident it should be my obligation to make those kind of efforts to establish programs and policies. I believe that clearly is management's responsibility to do it downward. And we had some discussion about that also. And I told him that I was confused. Some of the things that confused me was I would see their collection drivers driving through our streets multiple times and driving past POWs. He said with a new system they have in place was to create a system that will keep their carriers busy or their collectors busy and the truckloads to capacity. When I made the reference that, who knows when the trash will be picked up, it's on our community, he said he did. He said it would be Friday. The Friday came and gone, and the trash remained in our community. Not only did the 12 POWs there, a couple other POWs got added to it. I called him at 4 o'clock on Friday and ended up leaving a message on his machine. He did call me this morning, and we had another great length. I'll try to conclude here,
Yeah, can you conclude?
if I may.
Can we let him conclude?
It's the mayor's. I'm sorry.
May I please?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Barnes did call me this morning, and we had another great length of conversation about the problem, and he assured me that he would call staff and have the trash picked up, which he did. However, it should not take a visit to City Hall, 2 phone communications with the Deputy Director of Sanitation to get 2 weeks' worth of trash picked up. I'm sure I don't have to tell you, all American cities don't leave trash on their sidewalks for 2 weeks. I have 2 things that I would like to ask for you. One is that you recognize that this is a problem and take immediate action to see that this is resolved. And the second thing is, in my discussion with Mr. Barnes, he told me that they hope to roll out other things in the future. One being, he was hoping that he would be able to give every resident another container to put their green waste in. He said that in the future they would be able to take the green waste and take it to a dump, put it in a landfill and not charge tipping fees. Now, I think what we've seen since this program has been implemented and the problems that we have now, I would hope and I would caution you to give carte blanche to anybody, especially the same people, with any future suggestions on programs without being sure that we're not going to run into the same kind of problems that we have now, and it's just inexcusable, I believe. I thank you very much.
Thank you.
The second speaker is Charles Marshall.
Good evening, Mayor Kavanaugh and council members. I have the same issue about trash, bulk trash. I also live in Australia, as you know. I might want to point out real quickly here, if everybody from Australia would raise their hands, you've got quite a crowd of members that are all probably pretty consistently upset about the bulk trash problem. Since the program started, there's not a day that's gone by that my neighborhood hasn't had the trucks go through. Now, if the truck is going through every day, that doesn't seem like that's a safe condition for the neighborhoods. We had it down to the bulk trash going through once a week. The second thing is the trash piles, as Lee Webb just pointed out, are stacking up in there. And in some cases, it's from a house that has been vacated in the past, and they're no longer paying their bills. Now, who's going to go monitor that and find out how to pick that up? So it's not only is it a code violation that we don't have the people to go off and track, but now we don't even, they would have to track it over a couple of weeks period, and they'd send out letters and find out that it's a vacated lot and all that. So it's a real complication to the whole concept of this not picking up everybody's bulk trash on the same day. Another thing is that the piles have sat for a long time that I've seen. People all the trash dries out, the leaves and everything else all blows into everybody else's yard, becomes a regular source of additional trash throughout the neighborhood just because it hasn't been picked up. Australia was and has an HOA rule that says that you will not put out your trash more than 24 hours ahead of time. You will not leave your trash out. And we've been able to enforce that, and it helps the neighborhood keep the kind of condition that we'd like to have for all of our neighborhoods in Goodyear, which is where it looks nice. People can go through and see that it's a neat neighborhood. We can't enforce that anymore because we don't know whether the person has called the city hall. We can't go up and knock on the door and say, hey, when's your trash going to be picked up? The city has said that they would do it 48 hours over the internet, and they have now changed the rule because they couldn't keep up with the complications of it. So it's now 4 to 6 days. Well, when I put out my, decide to trim my trees, which is probably on the day when it's not so bad, when it's less than 100 or 105, and I do it planned around my Tuesday pickup is what we had. You can't do that kind of thing anymore, so people are staggering it, and it's really bad. Last thing I'd like to add to it is the city wanted to reduce costs is probably the reason that this whole subject came up. It seems to me, from my perspective, that an easier way or a better way, more sensible, would have been to do it every other week, and that way it would cut it in half. But on the same day each week. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
The next speaker is Christine Espressione.
Good evening, everyone. This is not my first time at the podium, and I am from Estrella Mountain Ranch as well. And once again, I'm sorry I have to ask you guys, what the heck were you thinking? If you wanted a cut, a reduction, I'm all for it. How's about a 50% reduction by just going biweekly? But you guys went and essentially recreated the wheel of a process that everyone in Goodyear has come accustomed to. And you expect us, as taxpayers, to now man our community and call for bulk trash pickup. Well, we have a lot of snowbirds. And guess what? We as neighbors pick up after them. Are we supposed to be responsible for account numbers to call in? I mean, it just totally baffles me that this was the resolve to saving money. And like Charles said, yeah, I see the truck 6-7 times rolling on by, and you'll be hard-pressed to tell me you're saving money there. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. And what I'm asking is that you throw this program out and get us back to what we were, or get us back to a biweekly schedule. It doesn't make sense that I, once again, pay a lot of money to live in this beautiful neighborhood, and it's trashed. I also would like to point out that we have trash sitting out, and just the other day, and this prompted me to actually come down here, just the other day I seen a snake coming across the wash into that pile. Now, we have children in our communities. Who is going to be responsible for the rodents that start happening because people don't know the schedule, or the truck driver doesn't pick up when it's right there? I mean, give me a break. This is a no-brainer, city of Goodyear, all-America city. You guys can fix this right away, and I'm asking that you toss this program out because it's just not working. Thank you.
Thank you.
The last speaker is Ted Maltby.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, I don't know what the world you're thinking about or what you're even in your office for if you can't quit changing programs. I didn't move into Goodyear Estrella Ranch to have my neighborhood trashed. Now, I think that you can at least pick up our trash and pick up the bulk trash every 2 weeks. Or we may have to do some recall elections. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Can I say just a few words?
Yes, sir.
I apologize for not knowing the procedure to get my name on the list.
That's okay.
My name is Josh Waits. I'm from Estrella Mountain Ranch as well. I have a trash issue as well I'd like to tell you the story about. Me and my two neighbors, so 3 houses in a row, 1, 2, 3, all put our bulk out at the same time. I noticed they were doing it, so I did it as well. They thought the Tuesday was coming. They picked up the house, 2 houses away from me. Okay. After that, then they didn't pick up me and my neighbor's house. I went next door. What's going on? Oh, you have to call it in now. I didn't read the article. I didn't read the newspaper. I didn't go on your website. I apologize, but I don't feel like that's my responsibility. So then I call it in. So then they come today. They pick up my neighbor's trash, not my trash. That's totally insane. Then they leave me a note on my door that says they're going to do a courtesy pickup and come pick up my trash as a courtesy today. But my trash is still there. It doesn't make sense why the truck can't pull forward 10 feet, take 5 minutes, or, I mean, that's if I did it. I'm assuming these guys are professionals. They probably could do it in 30 seconds, throw the trash in the back and move forward. Okay? I called to get some answers. The first answer I said was that they don't know who's paying their bill and who's not, and we have to call it in. I asked how did they know before when they came every week? Well, they didn't know the answer to that. Okay? Then I said that sometimes they give notes. So I said, you know, here's another issue. I had once bagged up cactus in a trash bag, and they put a note on my door and said, next time put it in a box. I said, okay, it makes sense. I'm willing. You give me a note, tell me what to do, I'll fix it. Okay? So I said, why don't you give me a note and say, call it in for now on. Put it on the online for now on. They said, well, we do that sometimes, and people don't respect that. People don't honor that. People are breaking the rules. So because other people are breaking your rules and not listening to you, then you're going to just stick it to the rest of us? That doesn't make any sense. What else did they tell me? They said they had budget restraints. I think that's been settled clearly here. At least they said one answer I got from the foreman, Adam, it says I was complaining. He said, well, at least you get to speak to a human. If you were talking to Phoenix, you wouldn't even get to a human. It would be talking to machines right now. This is outrageous. If this was a private corporation, this would not be tolerated. Finally, they said it's a pilot program. That's the answer. Once I beat every other thing out of them, they said pilot program, pilot program. You know what they admitted? They admitted that they said this works great in Columbus, Ohio when they ran it. They had trouble when they implemented it, they said. Well, that means that was the pilot program, right? Why don't they learn they had trouble implementing it and do something better? This is ridiculous, and I wish, I got a 3-year-old daughter, I wish I was spending my time with my daughter, but instead I got to make phone calls, and if I got one apology, I wouldn't even be here. It's our fault, my mistake. All I get is bureaucratic, faceless nonsense. You see around the country, people are upset about all this healthcare stuff. It's because the government's not listening. We need people to start listening.
Okay, first off, obviously, I think the staff has already investigated this, so certainly could respond to criticism now if you wish. But as the mayor, this is not limited to Estrella. I apologize to the people of Goodyear for the way we've handled this problem over the last couple of weeks. Brian, you have anything you'd like to add?
I appreciate the comments tonight as well. As a pilot program, it's something that we are absolutely looking at. What I propose is we will bring back to council what we need to do to make this work. So that's my commitment back to council and to the citizens. The staff will be looking at solutions, and we'll be bringing those back as soon as possible.
Yes.
My name is Tim Riley. I also live up in Estrella. And I think it's wonderful that the staff is going to look into this and try to figure out how to solve the problem. While you're in the process of doing that, why don't you bring back the Tuesday pickup until you find a solution, and then you can implement whatever your new program is so that the residents of Estrella, aren't disadvantaged. And the other question I have, and this is, what happens in the communities, there's always rumors that spread around, and rumors are not helpful for communities. And I know that what we've done here is tried to save some budget money. We've had some financial problems. We raised the sales tax, because we have to have some more revenue. So the residents of Goodyear are paying a little bit more there. The rumor that I heard, and I would like to ask the city manager if he would address this, I heard the rumor that there's been 2 or 3 employees of Goodyear that have had raises given to them in the last 60 days. Under the budget process, I thought we were cutting everything and no one was getting any raises, and we were cutting down expenses. And I don't know if if the rumor is true or not, but I would like somebody to find out if it is. So poach that rumor.
Can we decide to report back to you on that one? Okay,
That's fine.
our city manager's not here. Okay,
Oh, no,
so, but you
that's
will
fine.
get a report, and should be a public report on that question. Okay?
Thank you,
very
sir.
much. Yeah, we really can't wait to get this resolved. This has to be resolved now.
Mayor,
Any comments from the council?
Mayor, quick comment.
Yes.
Can we schedule something? I don't know the protocol. I'm the new guy on here, but can we get something quickly as far as a work session so we can hammer this out? Is that appropriate?
Need a council
The
meeting, not a
attorney,
work session.
City attorney, do we need?
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Pizzillo, we will be back to you next week
Okay.
in work session, and we will be bringing back solutions at that time for direction, as well as what the expense impacts may be. So we will be bringing that back before you next week.
Excuse me, if you could, the dollar, everything, yeah, I would appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Vice Mayor?
Yes, I'd just like to apologize to the citizens for the time and the aggravation you've had to go through. When the program was presented to us, we did not foresee some of the things that is happening. And you're right, you do pay your taxes, and you deserve to be honored by that. And so I think you've heard tonight that we've heard you, and you're not the only neighborhood, I will state, that's made complaints. I've had a number of neighborhoods email. So you're not alone in this fight. So we have to turn it over to staff at this point to get back to us and schedule a meeting.
Yes, Councilmember Souza.
Yeah, this was a pilot program, and evidently the pilot program didn't have a plane to fly. So, yeah, I think the ideas that have come up here this evening from the folks that make their presentation are warranted, and certainly, as far as I'm concerned, reconsideration should be on the agenda as soon as possible. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
And we'll investigate this entirely from the beginning as to why we even started this process, okay? Because, we have to go on, but this city has been very proud of its collection activities over the last 10 years, and it's too bad that we've got this roadblock, this obstacle, and we have to immediately recover, and so we will. We apologize to you. Okay, sorry for that. Is that all we have there, Lynn? Okay. All right, now we'll move to the consent agenda, and I'll ask the city clerk to read consent items A through I by title only, please.
Item A, approve draft minutes of a work session and a regular meeting held on August 24th, 2009. Item B, approve the following committee members to the University Park Development Task Force to examine the feasibility of a higher education consortium in Goodyear. Dr. David Young, Arizona State University. Rich Stanley, Arizona State University. Eric Guidino, Arizona State University. Raymond Vanderreet, Franklin Pierce University. Dr. James Burge, Franklin Pierce University. Roger Williams, New Hampshire Institute of Art. Mayor James Kavanaugh, Rob Antoniak, council member. Brenda Holland, resident. Gil Stafford, resident. Mike Keok, resident. Gary Gelzer, resident. Dave Villette, Cancer Treatment Centers of America. Leanne Black, Hospice of the Valley. John Fishbach, City of Goodyear. Brian Dahlke, City of Goodyear. Larry Lang, City of Goodyear. Rourke Massey, City of Goodyear. Item C, accept the dedication of right-of-way and a public utility easement by Castle Rock Homes, LLC, an Arizona limited liability company for a portion of the west side of Cotton Lane Avenue, approximately 920 feet north of Indian School Road. Item D, approve a contract with Malcolm Perney, Inc. in the amount of $967,548 to provide design and construction administration services for the Phase 4 Adam Well Development Storage, Booster, and Pipeline Project. Item E, approve a use permit to allow a convenience use for a CVS pharmacy on a 1.8 acre parcel in the Pebble Creek Crossing Commercial Center, generally located at the northeast corner of Pebble Creek Parkway and Indian School Road in the Pebble Creek Crossing Commercial Center, subject to stipulations. Item F, adopt ordinance 09-1192, providing for the rezoning of approximately 12.39 acres from the agricultural zoning district to the public facilities district zoning district for the development of the permanent City of Goodyear Park and Ride facility, generally located on the south side of Cornerstone Boulevard, west of Dysart Road, adopting supplementary zoning map number 09-010 to provide for the change in zoning, providing separability, and providing for an effective date. Item G, adopt ordinance 09-1193, providing for an amendment to the planned area development zoning for the Centerscape at Palm Valley Commercial Center, a 39-acre parcel generally located at the southeast corner of McDowell Road and Bullard Avenue, amending the PAD planned uses, development standards and design guidelines, adopting supplementary zoning map number 09-004 to provide for the PAD zoning amendment, providing separability, and providing for an effective date. Item H, adopt Resolution 09-1329, authorizing the grant submission of Click It or Ticket Next Generation Grant Contract to the Governor's Office of Highway Safety and authorizing the city manager to execute all documents relating to said application and any grant offer. Item I, authorize payment of $138,497.69 to Prime Contracting, Inc., and approve change order in the same amount to amend the contract with Prime Contracting, Inc., to pay for additional work not included in the scope of work and for increased costs resulting from unforeseen conditions on project number STO 706/1200-08, Bullard Avenue to Bullard Wash to Yuma Road.
Okay, thank you very much. Would anyone in the public wish to remove an item from the consent agenda? Would anyone in council wish to remove an item from the consent agenda?
Mayor, I'd like to remove B and I.
Okay, let's see. B, remove them, or do you have a question on them?
Well, I think B, because of the nature of it, it'd be kind of nice, especially with the turnout we have tonight, to have a general overview of, the first meeting to the public. I think that would be helpful. And I do have a question on I.
Okay, you want to ask the question, or do you want to pull it?
Well, I can ask the question right now if you would like.
Yeah, why don't you ask the
Okay.
question?
Is Dave coming up? On I, the $138,000, the funding source, since it was unforeseen, is there another project that money's coming from?
Mayor Kavanaugh and Councilmember Pizzolo. Actually, the funding for the change order is coming out of the budget for this project. We did not have to take money from other projects in order to cover this change order. I don't have the exact figures today, but I know we got a good bid below engineer's estimate, and the monies to cover the overage was contained within the budget.
Okay, I'm satisfied. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, and I can do B, or you can ask someone else to do it.
No, I would assume you could do B.
Okay. Before I do B, though, I have just a question on, I don't know what number it is. G. And that is, it relates to the changing from the at-home district to another district. And I just have a question. The proposed development will not adversely impact airport operations, and that's a statement under Phoenix Goodyear Airport. Is that a position of the airport, or is that our opinion? And were they aware of the 8-story hotel?
Mr. Mayor, council members, this did go to Luke Air Force Base, and they commented they had no issues.
I'm thinking about the airport in Goodyear.
In our airport?
Yeah, because I know this is just on the takeoff and landing corridor. I think it's fine. I just want to make sure they say it's okay.
Mr. Mayor, we got confirmation from Luke Goodyear. Phoenix Goodyear did not get this routing of this application, but staff's view was that airport was several miles to the south, being north of I-10. We didn't see this as being in the flight path or in any of the noise contours.
I may be wrong, but I think it has a greater impact on Phoenix Goodyear than it does on Luke.
I think so. You're right. I think you're right. Because when the planes are coming,
Mitch, did you want to say something? Yes. Yes.
I'm Mitch Rosen with Suncor Development Company, Mayor, members of the council. With regard to your question, as in due course or normal course of our processing, we have an outside consultant based in Los Angeles. The name of the consultant slips my mind at the moment, but for example, at Tempe Town Lake, as well as our projects here, we go to that consultant. They use specific datum points, and then we go to the top of the buildings, and so we know the geometry of it, and that's submitted both to Luke Air Force Base and to the the Phoenix Goodyear Airport. So they've reviewed it and approved that.
They being?
Phoenix Goodyear.
They did approve it?
Yes, sir.
And they know about the hotel?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right, then before we ask for a vote on this, on B, we actually had the first meeting because we had to expedite because Arizona State needs an answer as soon as possible. And the objective of the committee, and I hope of the city, is to find a way to bring higher education to Goodyear. And we really looked at this immediate issue as how do we get ASU into Goodyear in temporary facilities by 2011? We've got vacant commercial buildings, and we wanted to investigate that. Another question was, how do we handle the 60 acres, which we've already determined will go for higher education, and not just, well, the 60, part of it is already leased to Franklin Pierce, and they still want that, although they're open to deliberations on that. And the other 30 was UIWs, and of course they're no longer with us. So there's an issue of the 30 acres and an issue of the 60, and how do we use those best for the future higher education in Goodyear? And all parties are open to that. And then the last question is, how do we arrange the funding to bring ASU here on a permanent basis? And so we discussed those issues, and that's obviously the last one is a critically important one because they aren't going to come temporarily unless they know there's a permanent residence opportunity here. We met for almost 2.5 hours. Most of the people on that list were there, and it was a great discussion, largely very positive, although very good questions came up. And we left the meeting with 3 tasks, which are to be reported back to on 6 October to this group. And the first one is those people, the college people, the Franklin Pierce and ASU, have to determine within the period of time between now and 6 October is how do they intend to implement their programs in Goodyear in 2011 and thereafter. And we want to know what they're going to need in classes. We're going to want to know what they're going to need in facilities, and what programs are they going to collaborate on. And collaboration is the key. That's a tough question, but they're convinced they can answer that. The staff was given the task of determining how this could be funded using government monies, and they'll come back to us on the 6th with the various bonding options, et cetera. And then there's another group, and I'm a member of that group, and that's the fundraising group, and that's interesting that we're going to go out and determine how we can seek private sector dollars for this operation. And there's quite a bit of confidence that that can be done. We're going to be led by Dave Vallette, who's quite familiar with this subject, and he is excited about the opportunity. And then we have Leanne Black, who's with the Valley of the Hospice, and she's done this stuff before. So a few of us are amateurs in fundraising, but we've got some real pros, and I think all of us know many, many people throughout this valley who'd be interested in this opportunity. So we meet again on 6 October, as I said, but right now we've got all these people working very hard to come up with answers. We wanted to have an answer to the council and the people by Christmas. That still is a very strong possibility of achieving that. But and then, of course, you've got a plan. If you agreed to move ahead and seek funding, then you still have to be able to talk about how you're going to look in 10 years. So it's a very challenging question, series of questions, and I think we're up to handling those. So
That's it.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Could I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Move the adoption of the consent agenda as read.
Second.
Okay, motion from Councilmember Souza and a second from Councilmember Pizzoli. Could I have a roll call vote?
Vice Mayor Lord.
Aye.
Councilmember Sousa.
Aye.
Councilmember Cavalier.
Aye.
Councilmember Osborne.
Aye.
Councilmember Pizzillo.
Aye.
Mayor Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Passes 6-0.
Apologize for pronouncing your name incorrectly.
It's okay.
But I did it for years and I didn't know it. So I'm learning, Joe. I apologize to you personally, though.
That's
You
okay,
deserve
Mayor.
better than that.
Yeah, that's okay, Mayor.
Okay, we have no business items on our agenda. We're now, would anyone on council wish to comment on current event? City Manager, do you have any comments?
Mr. Mayor, members of council, just a couple of comments. I'll go ahead and weave in the follow-up. One is the work session we will do on September 21st. We looked over the agenda. We will try and get that on at 5 o'clock promptly so the public does not have to wait. So that will be on bulk trash, 5 p.m. Next Monday, September 21st. Second item, Mr. Mayor, is I've set in front of you a revised schedule for City Center work sessions. We had some conflicts with council, and then I'm trying to get our, so in trying to keep all of council's availability consistent with the dates that worked, you have a new schedule in front of you. The only change is that, and just for the public, we will have a work session on September 28th. It'll focus largely on the financing, what other projects are out there, CIP projects. October 6th and 7th, we'll have public meetings available to the public to go over the several of the city center issues. October, and it says 9th, it's actually October 19th. We will be coming back before council with revised capital O&M costs and comparative costs for construction, a lot of the space and layout types of issues. And finally, on October 26th, we will have a follow-up work session if needed, or this would be a go, no-go vote on the direction of council relative to City Center project. Mr. Mayor, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any inquiries of staff by council?
Was that October 26th? That last one was October 26th, Brian?
October 26th.
Okay.
Yes. And if needed, if there's a council or a work session needed for the 26th, we may move the action for council go, no-go to November the 9th if needed. We just wanted to build that in so you're all aware of the schedules.
Okay, thank you very much. Meeting